I call this one the Campfire Song. Let's gather around the campfire and sing our campfire song. It'll help if you just sing along.
Convicted Christian community, what's going on?
You're probably going to be wondering, why are we playing
Campfire song.
This is actually the first time I've heard this song.
Yeah.
I used to watch SpongeBob when I was a kid, but I don't remember this song. But Kay's just told me to search it up, and well, we hope you enjoyed that and maybe took you back to some good memories.
Good memories. Depends on your generation that you're listening to. I suspect people that would be listening to this podcast will be quite similar in our generation anyway.
Yeah, you reckon?
So like the 90s babies.
Yeah. SpongeBob's gone on for ages though.
Has been.
Still big now, isn't it?
I think so. Anyway, today's topic is camps. Church camps. Woohoo!
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah, church camps. It's where all the good stuff happens.
That's where all the best stuff happens.
What do
you mean by that?
What do you mean by that? I've never done anything bad on a Christian camp. No way. I've heard some pretty terrible stuff happen on Christian camps too. Not gonna lie.
Like some actual,
yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy stuff.
Full on.
Let's not get there. Maybe we should.
Maybe we should.
I don't know, but it's nothing that I've personally experienced, so maybe I can't really speak for that.
Talking about Steve, right?
Yeah, talking about Steve.
Steve
This guy called Steve, right? We just throw Steve under the bus. Steve is the scapegoat.
He is.
You know what I'm
He's
saying?
our scapegoat.
That's it.
Poor Steve.
That's all right. Steve doesn't exist. Steve doesn't exist anyway, so it's all good. All right, so we're talking about camps.
All things camps.
All things camps. Why is camps a significant topic?
Well, it's kind of pivotal to if somebody grew up as a Christian through their childhood years. It's almost pivotal. Like it's a thing. I was just thinking about that. Like, why are camps so big? There's an element of camps that's like real central to young Christian.
I think like camps and just getting away from your normal place, like going on tour, going on a trip somewhere else. It really opens up your sort of norms, and you just put that all behind you, and then you can just talk to more people.
Yeah.
And it's unscheduled fun, so you don't have to go home at certain times. You can just have conversations.
That's it.
And you can just do whatever.
Stay up as late as you want.
Yeah, that's
it. You
it.
play pranks with your friends.
That's exactly right. And that's why camps are fun. But the thing is, another thing in that sense, like Christianity actually really expands on that idea as well, to actually create some really good bonds. Some bonds for life.
Bonds for life.
Yeah.
Bonfires for life.
That was so lame. That made no sense.
It didn't make any sense.
But it's okay because
We love Jesus.
we love Jesus. That's right. We are saved. So we don't take our lame jokes with us to heaven. You get me?
That's it.
So yeah, I look at camps and go, wow, those were some great memories. But it's where we learn to get along with each other. It's where we also learn a lot about ourselves. I feel like there were camps that I've been to and I'm just like, shit, I'm so bad at making friends.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I've felt that. I've been to camps and I walked away and go, I am not good at getting along with other people.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And it's entirely situational, and the people that you go with as well. So sometimes you don't have to really beat up yourself about it.
Yeah.
But then some other times you just have so much fun. And it depends who you're going there with as well. It matters more who you're going with, I think, later in your years. When you're a kid, not so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, later in your years, you just go. You really just want to be with the people that you already know, rather than join in something that's really big.
Why do you think Christian camps dwindle the older you get?
Well, it really hasn't dwindled for me. Like, I've got a close group of friends where we just like head out, just book an Airbnb and just go.
I guess doing a weekend away is essentially the same as like a
camp type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's fun and it's great. But the thing is, it's something that we need to put some effort into. As you get older as well, you got better stuff to do. I mean, once you get married and you have kids, forget it. It's probably not going to happen. Although it'd be good to have some friends who are also married like you with some kids, your kids' age as well, so that you guys can get away as well.
Some people go away on like summer camps and, there's holiday caravan trips and stuff.
Yeah.
Would be similar. But even for me, I guess, as an adult going on conferences and stuff, man, it's unreal. It's so good. There's something about, I guess, going away. It sounds silly saying this, but like to put general life on hold,
Yeah.
step away from it But then to do that with other Christian people is just amazing, man. It's so much fun just doing life together
Yeah.
with other Christian people.
Yeah.
But I always leave those camps like feeling like I've learned something about God.
Yeah. Absolutely. Even ones that are not so regimented with a program or some sort of a conference or even with like a Bible talk that was organized or whatever are still pretty good. And I think we Christians need to get in the habit of doing that a bit more. So that we actually feed ourselves with our friendships as well. Like, yeah, like the theology and stuff, that was all good. Church organized events will be, far more intentional and things like that. But when you go away as a Christian group, and you can because you've got that bond from church, hopefully you do. Hopefully God blesses you enough with friends in a church, as ridiculous as that might sound, right?
Having people
And actually do things outside of the church. And like that's well facilitated when you're young, when you're a kid, you're in high school, and the church organizes all of that, right? And put you into a bit of a program away from your parents, so that your parents enjoy not having you around as well for a few days, which is nice. But the older you get, I feel like those kind of getaways, if you don't have these regimented programs, are great opportunities to bring a non-Christian friend along too.
Yeah, okay.
Which is awesome, because that way they become the minority and they hang out with like the Christian friends and they realize how not crazy at all we are.
I was trying to keep straight face on that.
But it's just in the way I said it, I reckon. But seriously, no, we're not crazy people, right?
We're not crazy.
We're not crazy, everyone. And I think it's a great way for people to get to know the group, and it's a non-threatening way, and it's a good way for non-Christians to go, Christians they can be fun. They're actually normal people with normal thoughts. No, we didn't get blind drunk this weekend, but hey, we had wholesome amount of fun.
Yeah. If we take a step back, we go back to youth when you were a kid. What did you enjoy about Christian camps, and what did you maybe find difficult, challenging about them?
Yeah. So when you are on a camp, you are forced in a group of people that
You love.
that you love so much.
We're just best friends.
We're just best friends before, after, and during. But let's be honest, right? Let's be honest. You are better friends with your high school friends because you see them more often.
Yeah.
I mean, the narrative could be different, I guess. If you have really, really good Christian friends, but you're doing it wrong if you're doing that because, like I know some youth kids who are so sheltered in the church. I think they should fit better in a school by normal standards, because you spend more time in a school, right? Like you're there 5 days a week. You're at church 1 day a week.
That's interesting. I feel like some people grow up closer with their Christian friends, but I feel like from both of us, we grew up with being heaps closer with our high school mates.
Yeah, non-school,
non-Christian.
Non-Christian.
Yeah. But part of that was because I was pretty much the only Christian somewhere in my year level. Was that the same for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same for everyone, I think, isn't it?
But that doesn't make any sense because like there's heaps of Christians out there, Joan. Unless they all just go to Christian schools.
Could be.
Which quite a lot do.
Quite a lot do. And in which case, their narrative will be different to ours again. Because they'll be thinking that, what do you mean? Like, everyone in our school was a Christian. That would have been a weird environment to grow up in.
If we've got any listeners, if you went to a Christian school, did you actively have like other Christian friends? And if you went to a listeners, let us know.
Yeah.
What was your high school experience like?
Where the high school experience was normal to actually seek out other Christians and be intentionally friends with them. Whereas like the assumption in my school when I was growing up in a school was that, hey, you're not a Christian, but here I'm here to hang out and have fun.
Yeah.
Which is so completely different. And I wonder if there's like in these Christian schools there's like a bit of a divide. It's like, oh yeah, those guys, they're not Christian. Like, that there's like that reverse persecution. I wonder. Anyway, but in a church, in these like church camps, you're hanging out with these people that you don't normally see on a regular basis. They could be from different schools, so it's a bit icky, it's a bit different, it's a bit foreign. But you do your best to hang out with them, and sometimes you form good relationships, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you meet a girl.
No way.
Hey, this is where we get into the bad stuff.
What are we talking about?
What are we talking about?
Holding hands.
Oh no!
Dun, dun.
Oh my God.
That youth leader just storming down. Hey,
no,
go over here.
Side hugs, shoulder,
The hover hands.
the hover hands.
Dude, I got like 30 centimeters closer to her this time. She totally likes me, man.
Yeah, so things are moving pretty fast between us.
I think we're gonna get married.
It's kind of funny. It's funny because it's kind of true. I know some camp couples that have stuck it up for a very long time after that. Even from a very, very young age.
Stuck forever and ever.
It's good and bad at the same time, just like Christian camps. Like that's how we started the podcast anyway. But I remember these camps being it's like a short period of time, and you're actually going through quite a lot of things.
Yeah.
Spiritually, with your social aspect as well. So in a short period of time, you're actually improving. You're actually building a lot of things all at the same time, and it lingers with you. After a camp, you're just not the same person.
Mm-hmm.
You might have learned something about yourself or learned something about God. You might have found a special friend. You might have found just a good friend, that you can confide in and you can sort of, have conversations with. What I found so incredibly challenging about camps, though, is how polarizingly different the post-mortem is. Like, how polarizingly different the after the camp is.
Do you mind
to during.
elaborating on that?
Because during the camp, you get on this high.
Yeah.
You're like families with your friends.
Yeah.
And then afterwards,
You're
you
like
don't...
Fast and Furious family.
Yeah, you're basically Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel.
We're doing it for the family.
Family.
Yeah.
All for the family.
All for the family. And in that family, there's like God and there's his children, and we're all friends and
We just
love each other.
Loving each other.
We're loving each other. Life is great.
Energy's flying.
Energy's flying. And then boom, after the camp, you just don't talk to anyone ever again. Like it's not ever again, but like for a while, because you've had enough of them, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's really interesting, man. Because your experience and my experience growing up is very different. I didn't really go to youth camps, unfortunately. For me, I feel like it's unfortunate I didn't get to go. I was really jealous and envious when I was growing up. I couldn't go to Christian camps as a kid.
Yeah.
But I guess I never experienced that. But I do understand what you mean about the highs you get when you're on a camp. Like you're on this emotional roller coaster. And when I talk to kids I know now who go on these camps that are run, they're literally, like when you hear them talk about it, like it's kind of like this just wave comes on the camp and people are just so emotional and crying and in tears and like, oh, you're my bestie. We're going to be besties forever.
Yeah.
But I've always wondered what it would be like after those camps.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
nothing.
And what you're saying is like, it's just...
Silence.
It's gone.
Gone. Maybe it's just me.
That's
Maybe I'm just the antisocial one.
Maybe I'm just lefty.
I'm just like maybe no one likes me, but I don't know. But and also there's cliques. Oh, the cliques.
Cliques on camps.
Yeah, cliques on camps.
Oh.
Like especially the ones that come from the same school, or this is me talking as a kid, but like that's why I prefer like the smaller camps. If it's like a bigger camp, then there's definitely like cliques forming, and there's always the cool kids and not so cool kids, and you don't really feel good even if you are the cool kid.
Can I ask where did you sit?
I was on the loser side and also the cool side as well.
You're on both.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, you go to so many of them, you figure it out.
Yeah.
And then it's not really good either. Like, because you also wonder, like, I wonder what these other people are thinking. And plus, there's no cool and loser when you become an adult as well. Once you become an adult, it's just like everyone's
that
interesting
kind
in
of
their own.
changes.
Yeah. Like, you probably feel the same way. If you went on a sort of weekend away now, you probably want to just hang out with all of these people and just have a moment with them and have a chat. Yeah, have a good time. When you're a kid, it's sort of, but you're just learning to be more mature in that regard. And I think camps are a good way to teach you how to do that. And then there's also, like we discussed this, privileged kids. Oh my gosh. Pastors' kids and kids whose parents who appear in the front of the church a lot.
Right.
That kind of stuff. I'm just like, oh, come on.
What did you feel from that?
I just tell them to shut up. Like, just sit back down. Just be humble.
Were they cocky and arrogant, or
not really? But they were just talking a lot. They were just like stand out a lot, and I'm just like just
relax.
Just relax a bit.
Just relax.
And like it's their element, right? The yearly church camp is their element. They're like, like I'm here as the pastor's kid, and like I'm having a lot of fun. All the leaders know who I am, and like it's good. It's good. And I remember being a kid and seeing that and going, really? Like, do you have to behave that way? Like, yeah. But I think camps overall do teach us a lot of things. In that, Christianity can be on a bit of a high, at times, and it's good to realize those times. And you know what? That moment stays in your head. So when you're in a bit of a low as an adult, you sort of think back and you go, "Oh, I once was very moved by the Spirit." Call it the environment or the circumstance. I was once very moved by that, and I felt something then. So you can always, there's something that you can actually fall back on. But in saying that, do I think it was an essential part of my childhood? We had this discussion, you and me,
Yeah.
that you would have appreciated going to youth group and stuff. Youth groups are a weird and confusing place, man. It's good. It's only good as good as just going through the confusion because for the sake of going through it, and it's just part of your life. But it's not something that's going to drastically improve your life. It will if it's done really well.
But don't you feel like you can say that because you've experienced it?
Yeah, in a way. But I'm critical about my experience because I'm critical about the actual program. Let me tell you about something the church always falls short on, is that because it's an organization run by volunteers, it's not always done to its full capacity.
Full potential.
Full potential. And this is opening up a big can of worms here.
Here we
But
go.
like, we really need to devote our lives to Christ when we are serving church and when we're doing life. But for some reason, man, I just look at some of these programs and I go, like, was it done properly? Like, you are setting a course for these kids. Could you have done a bit better? And my answer is like, yeah.
What? Can you give us some
Definitely.
examples, Jane?
It's
If that's
just
okay.
it's some things are just. I'll give you an example, like the activities and stuff. Like I went to church camp when I was a kid.
Yeah.
In Korea. Yeah, like in an Asian country. And their kids camp program is like to the next level. Like the element of excellence really just is just so well enshrined in
Are you
the
talking
community.
from like a teaching point of view?
Teaching and engaging.
Yeah,
and,
so like
and-
a fun component.
yeah, fun
to it.
component. And it's not
Right.
just fun as in fun, but it's actually really, really engaging.
Okay.
They put us into groups of 10 and then they would specifically get us to do cooperative exercises. And not all of them were fun. Some of them are really fun. Some of them are really slow and require patience with each other. And we had to learn that from each other. I remember doing this activity. We would stand in a line, right? We would do all the fun stuff as well. Like we'll color each other, we'll color stuff into books and, all this fun stuff, create stuff and, have a play. We'll do scavenger hunting and all that kind of good fun activities. But we would also be doing things where we are helping each other as well. I remember doing this exercise where we would put toilet paper, we'd line up, and we'll just wrap toilet paper around our necks in that one single connection. And we would have to carry something. And it was the ball, and we would carry it up above our head and pass it over our heads without breaking
Oh,
the
wow.
link.
That's fun.
Yeah, and then we had to go around the course, and we had to do it all together.
Right.
And we had to do it until we get it right.
So if it ripped, you had to take it
We
off.
had to take it off and
Put
then
toilet
wrap it
paper
all
around.
up again. And it was a really warm day as well.
Yeah, we're talking 1 ply, 2 ply.
No, just single ply. That it was flimsy thin, bro.
Single ply.
Yeah,
Oh
single
my
ply.
God.
And they chose single ply just for this purpose, man. But like it was just so comprehensive, all these experiences. And I remember like, and there are also other fun games that you play in these groups as well. But they would just focus on the Bible study and discussions, and like the ones I've done in Australia are just
Yeah, so what did you find that the ones in Australia lacked?
creativity and some sort of
Yeah.
engagement and some sort of directness.
That's interesting, man.
Yeah, it's just from a level of like how polished is the actual event,
Right.
how polished is the gathering and all the rest of it. And I just feel like, okay, but that being set aside, because it didn't focus on us, the campers. It focused more on the program, like, oh, we're going to go through this program with the kids, and that was it. Whereas the one I did in Asia, it was so well focused and designed for the actual campus, what's going to improve then on multiple facets, that we're not just going to sit here and talk about the Bible and sing loud songs, but we're actually going to make these guys into friends with each other.
Yeah.
Right. And they would purposefully group us up with like in these really random groups and with different ages and things like that. And I found that really, really interesting. So like the primary school will be between year like 3 to 6s. And in one group, there will be like year 3s and 4s and 5s and 6s. Well, anyway, I could go through so many details, but I just felt as like the program was designed for the sake of just designing the program in Australia, where they're just like, hey, let's just go and, we'll just get this. We're singing these songs and we're doing these programs with the kids. That's great. But there would always be this one kid who's a loser that nobody hangs out with, or, things like that. And I thought, could that have been better? And because at the end of the day, these gatherings, I think, are supposed to form friendships that go beyond the camps a bit more.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think in that sense, there was a bit of a discrepancy. The fact that if I went to a really, really good program and I was like, dude, you missed out. I'd say you missed out even if you went to another youth program. in that it wasn't as good as the program that I actually went to in that sense. But I think I went to a youth program that was pretty mediocre.
Okay. Yeah.
And I say mediocre also because in terms of actually doing life as a Christian, like that sense of belonging really wasn't there.
You mean with your other kids on the camp?
With your faith. You know what I mean? With your faith.
Sense of belonging
Yeah,
wasn't there.
sense of belonging wasn't there with the friends and with the actual gathering, and also the actual with your faith in itself as well. Because what I mean by that is we didn't talk about the stuff we needed to talk about. We were beating around the bush about certain, like really, really heavy topics. Everything was fun and happy. This is obviously, you know, more applicable to the more mature side of
And we're
youth
talking
camp.
about post into teenage years. We're talking.
Yeah,
about.
into post teenage years. So as a kid, you're just having fun.
Yeah,
you're just being babysat from your, you know, your parents are relieved from
If
their
anyone
duty.
helps on camps, we love what you do.
Yeah, praise God for
You're
you.
not just babysitting.
Yeah, thank you for what you
Come
do.
on, okay. Just gonna turn away every person that serves in camps.
Yeah, so shifting the focus here onto the later years, I think those were the times when it was the most sensitive, right? We're confused. Some of us have enormous pressure from school.
Oh, for sure.
And like when I say pressure, I mean like from all the way from academic to social pressures.
Yeah, everything.
And you know we've got issues with like drinking and you know those kind of things that, you know, kids normally do towards the end of the years and stuff. Things to do with sex, porn, masturbation, all that kind of stuff needs some sort of embrace, needs some sort of comfort, needs some sort of guidance in that. And camp is actually the time where you actually remove those barriers, right? To actually start raising these issues and get close enough with each other to actually talk about these things. But there was just so much tiptoeing around that, and like it was just very, very, very tough. And we're so confused in that regard. And for all the areas that I needed help when I was a kid in dealing with some of these issues, I don't really feel like it was really well addressed.
Do you reckon that's a place you can talk about it at Christian camps?
I think maybe not at the camps, but I think the relationship should have at least been developed in those camps, so that could be the case.
Do you think youth can formulate relationships to talk about those things?
Maybe not, but maybe there could have been some sort of a network where like the leader and like a group of boys, group of girls could actually then have that leadership. That it wasn't just like this one little fun event and then like everybody goes away and then like we never talk to each other.
Bible study though, like a youth Bible study? Was that
that also didn't happen. In that sense, the criticism actually just goes overarchingly, you know, beyond the camp and then the youth program in general. Is that why then wasn't the camp utilized to actually nurture these relationships so that this could facilitate these discussions somewhere down the track, right? And so I'm not expecting anything from the kids. I'm not expecting from myself, but at least from the leadership to actually go, you know what, hey guys, how you going? I'm just here to lead and just watch out so that you guys, you know, don't fall over and you guys are eating and, you know, taking a bath and going to the toilet on time. Yeah. But more importantly, like, you know, were people looking after us because our faith matters to them? Is something that I genuinely question.
Yeah, because, you know, when you're saying all these things, it's really making me think, you know, for me, I've led at camps, youth camps now as an adult, and for me, I guess anything I'd do with those, I'd want to do it to the best of my ability in that sense. So when I hear these things, man, it's like whoa, wow, like that shocks me, because if I was on a kids camp, I would be putting my all into that to make sure that the camp is good, you know, that the kids are having fun, that the kids are enjoying their time there, the kids are learning about God.
Yeah.
I can't imagine going to a camp and spending your time, you know, as an adult, because most of your leaders would have been adults, right? Why would you, as an adult, waste your time with, let's just say, a week? Why would you waste a week of your life doing something you don't want to do, or doing something just because that's the formula of what things are done and you don't even care about it? You know what I mean? Like why would you want to waste your time? That doesn't make any sense to me. But for me, what I understand from that is, like, if I want to be there, I'd be investing myself into that. I'd be investing myself into the relationships with the kids. That I find that, at least for me, like the camps I've been on as a leader, like I've actually really developed a relationship with the kids and left a place for them to have those conversations. Now, the sucky thing about it is I can't follow that up, because I was just helping out on his camps. You know what I mean? Or I'd be going on like a beach, beach summer camp that you're not seeing his kids again. And I'm not leading a youth at the moment. But, I'd be like developing some of these relationships with some of these kids that like don't even go to my same church. And I'd hope that would leave place for them to be able to have that later. But, you might not be able to.
I was going to ask how many of them are you like still keeping in touch with? And I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but there's some regulations and rules around that. You're not supposed to get in touch with them ever again.
Certain nuances around what you can do around that.
Yeah, and I was part of a camp where I was looking after kids whose parents are in prison and like under the foster care system and things like that. And we were a blatantly Christian camp, which the government had approved, but we were not supposed to be in touch with the kids afterwards. And I understand why that would be the case. Because these kids are highly vulnerable. But on a relational front, it's terrible. It's terrible.
For the kid.
Yeah. And for us.
Yeah.
And for fulfilling the duty that we're supposed to fulfill with these kids. But the thing is, like when I was in youth group, it wasn't like that. After the camp, you still had the same youth leader.
So there was an ability.
Yeah, there was an ability to do it. And unfortunately, the youth leader was close to some people and I wasn't one of those kids.
That sucks, man. I'm sorry to hear that.
And
that actually makes me kind of angry, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If someone is leading youth, and I understand, for some people, they find it difficult to lead at youth or, they find it challenging. And if you do, that there are probably various reasons to it. So I don't want to sound too crass when I say this, but if people are leading at youth, it's like your job is to relate to those kids. It's not just to be there on a Sunday or whatever day that you do it, or Friday night, and then that's it. Like you'd want to invest into knowing these kids and trying to catch up with them in the way that you can. It might not be able to catch up one-on-one with them because there's also rules and regulations around it. But, at least like try and go out with them as a family, or like go over to the house for a meal. Or if you're married, have them over to your house for a meal. You know what I mean? I don't understand how people who lead in those things don't think about how they can relate to kids.
I'll tell you a story. I was in year 10 when my parents got a divorce. And when I heard about this, I didn't know who to approach. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know any friends that I could speak to. But I spoke to this friend in this youth group who I thought was close to me. Well, who I thought was the closest in the group. Now, I probably had better friends that were non-Christian, but I just thought this was where the best comfort and...
One of your closest friends in your...
Yeah, one of the closest friends. But we weren't particularly close compared to my secular friendships.
Yeah.
But I thought I needed some spiritual guidance in this regard.
Which is why you went to this guy.
To this guy. And he was a bit closer to the leader than I was. And so I actually had called him to find out the number of our leader.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because I didn't have his phone number and I didn't really talk to him, right? Yeah. And, well, not outside of it anyway. The Bible study ran and I was under his care. But I had a chat with him and he was very formal.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, this has happened. We're going to do this and that, whatever. There wasn't really any friendship. It wasn't based on any relational things. It was based on process.
Yeah.
And the pastor heard about this and the pastor decided to reach out to my parents.
Okay.
Yeah. Nobody followed up after that.
Yeah, right.
My leader didn't even follow up.
So
I was just getting passed around.
The pastor knew because this kid told the pastor?
Pastor knew because I told the leader and the leader told the pastor.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, so you did speak to the leader?
Yeah. And the leader didn't, because I got his number from my friend, right?
Oh, so you're saying that the leader was talking about the formula kind of stuff?
Yeah. So he's like, okay, this has happened and it's whatever. Like, are you all right, mate? All good? Yep, good. It was nice.
Right.
But it was all just ticking boxes.
And so the pastor reached out to your parents?
Parents.
Not to you?
Not to me.
Okay.
My parents weren't particularly happy about that because, with all the honor and reputation and things like that,
Yeah, of course.
But the leader didn't reach out to me after that at all.
That's it.
That's it.
How about when you saw him on a Sunday or whenever your Bible study was, when you saw him again on a weekly basis? Week after week, nothing.
Yeah, wasn't really brought up.
No conversation, no how you going.
Or anything like that.
No how you going.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah, well, how you going? But like talking about footy.
Yeah. You seen this going every week.
Yeah. And then he stopped leading for a while and stuff and whatnot. But
yeah, but I mean, how long after did he stop leading after you told him that?
I don't know, maybe about
a couple of months
month or two.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That sucks, hey.
So that's how I really got to understand that, the youth program, at least the one I went through, is just a program.
Yeah, yeah.
When the youth program is just a program, when the camp is just a camp, you're not missing out. We had a chat before, and Dio over here reckons that because he didn't go to youth program, he missed out a bit. And and maybe in some senses you did,
Yeah.
but you missed out on the understanding that churches aren't perfect, camps aren't perfect. People that go on them aren't perfect. People that lead them aren't perfect.
Yeah.
Are they helpful to understand? Yeah. But if you're really fantasizing about like, oh my gosh, I would have been much better cradled through my growth and development as a child and as an adolescent, like, no,
It's not the case.
not the case.
But do you know why I envy not having going to youth?
Well, I thought it was that fantasy, but I guess I'm
it's
about
not.
to be proven wrong. Okay,
Yeah, it's
tell
not
me. Okay, tell me.
It's what you were talking about before. That when you start going through teenage years, I went to, I lived in a pretty rough neighborhood, which I know sounds like a very cliche, but if you knew the suburb I used to live in, like it was a pretty rough place.
Yeah.
By God's grace, man, like his hand was over my family. Honestly, like some of the stuff that happens around that area, it's not great, but we were like protected like nothing. But I experienced a lot of those things, especially when I was a teenager, man. Like all of the stuff that young kids that grow up in a secular environment that's surrounded by secular friends that live in a low socioeconomic area. I was surrounded by that constant, man.
Yeah.
And I think and we've talked a little bit about this, which like we should chat about it more further in terms of like the place our parents. So the role our parents play in our lives is, man, if I didn't have, you've met my mum and dad.
Yeah.
But you can tell like mum's like, dad's very strict, but mum's very like
Yeah.
protective.
Yes. Yes.
If I didn't have like a mum like that, we used to butt heads so much, man.
You and your mother.
Me and my mum.
Yeah.
Me and my mum used to like get into some arguments like full on,
Yeah.
hard. We used to butt heads so much because we were so different. Do you know what I mean? But if I didn't have someone like my mum who was like really disciplining me and guiding me through that process, I think I would have flipped on the other side.
Wow.
And I know that, again, it sounds like a cliche, but I feel like I know my character enough and the people I was surrounded by that if I didn't have good, solid Christian people like my parents and some of my family friends around me, even though I didn't have youth, I'm pretty sure I would have like flipped into some dodgy stuff. Luckily, I went to a good school as well, which was helpful. Like I went to kind of a bit of an academic school.
Yeah.
So when I moved from my school in my suburb, like that really low socioeconomic school, to this academic school was like, yeah.
It was a big curve.
It definitely was a big curve. And I had a huge adjustment period in my first year, man.
Just like the friends were different, people were different.
Everyone's different, man. And I struggled with it. I almost got kicked out, actually.
Because you were so naughty.
Yeah.
Wow. That's another story for
That's another
another story
story.
for another day. But I would say that was your youth program.
Was what my...
That was your youth program, your upbringing right there.
Yeah.
That was the best youth program that God has designed for your growth.
Yeah.
To be a good Christian man in your mid-20s right now.
Yeah. It's definitely played a part in who I am now. So it was something during that journey that was good.
And unfortunately, even though I actually went through the youth program, can't say the same.
Right.
Yeah. So that's when you're just like, okay, youth program would be nice. But it'll be nice if it was a good youth program.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? And you had a good one because, your parents, really designed you and all the rest of it. But I would look at that and go, because I don't talk to my friends in youth.
I guess mine was unconventional.
Yeah.
In that sense.
Yeah. Well, it had a form that was beautiful. It was appropriate. But the point I was trying to, I'm not friends with
People,
friends I have in youth.
group.
Ideally, you would want to be at least,
Yeah.
and sort of at least keep in touch, but not so much.
That's interesting. Yeah, like because we were talking about it before.
Yeah.
There isn't even one person from that group of people you grew up with for like 6-7 years.
Yeah.
You don't catch up with them.
No.
That's whack.
Not often. And then my leaders, I don't really catch up. And I still visit my high school year 12 teacher.
Yeah.
So I don't think the issue is me. Maybe it is. Who knows? Always start with the man in the mirror. But Michael Jackson.
No, yeah, go.
Okay, stop. All right, carrying out.
We haven't gone one podcast
Without singing. Oh my goodness! I think it's my Asian heritage
Yeah, it
and
must be.
the amount of karaoke that's
Your
in my
amazing
blood.
piano skills.
Oh, thank you.
We're gonna hear that sometime, surely,
Sometime.
on the podcast.
But basically, those are some relational bits that I just go. Just shout out to everyone in kids ministry, youth ministry. Be relational.
Oh, for sure.
Relationships are everything. I know you're planting a seed and you're leaving everything up to God, but just be relational. There's nothing wrong with being friends.
It's gonna be very different, obviously, to how you do it with adults, because there are some rules and regulations, which
is.
we understand makes it really tricky.
If you've got teenage kids in your youth program that you're doing and you're a leader, like just stick it out. Once they finish, they go to uni, right? They'll become an adult. And I'm guessing you'll probably be in your mid-20s or something like that. So what, in your late 20s? You can still be friends with kids that are 19, 20 years old in the same church. What's wrong with that? And I just want to encourage that. And don't do it to just your favorite kids. I know you have your favorites. I know you do. But just, it means something. It means something to these kids, and these kids look up to you.
Yeah, for sure.
That's camps and a bit of youth program as well. Let's just be more intentional with these programs, guys.
Yeah.
That's it. And I'm actually thinking of trying to enter into a youth program now as a leader, of course.
Yep.
Mid-20s, and I'm like,
Try to go as a
yeah, I'm just doing my year 13 8 times. No, like I want to serve in the youth ministry, but a lot of these things are really crossing my mind to see, what can I do to really change his life and to really contribute the extension of God's kingdom.
And you don't need to be radical and change the whole program.
Yeah.
But like you're saying, you can just start small with the relationship. So with the nucleus that God gives you, with that 8 kids in your group, just be relational to them. It goes such a long way.
And get kids to open their hearts.
Yeah.
Teenage kids will just really shut them up, and just got to really open their hearts.
People reckon, teenage kids don't open up. They do. I reckon they do.
They do.
It just takes time.
You got to let them. You got to let them.
Yeah. And when they trust you and when they respect you, but that's a whole nother thing. Do the kids respect you? No. Oof.
Thank you so much for tuning in today, everybody. Really appreciate that you guys can join us. And
We'll catch you next
dropping podcasts twice a week.
time. Boom.
Boom. Convicted Christian community. Live a convicted life. Peace out.